Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another exciting episode on the ETH Insights. In business, we often hear stories of success, scale, and smooth exits. But very rarely do we hear the story of survival. Imagicaa was once celebrated as India's answer to Disneyland, until it hit a storm so severe that bankers, analysts, and even insiders believed that the gates would shut forever. From a 1,000 crore debt trap to being officially declared an NPA, to courtrooms, to conmen, stalled deals, and a global pandemic. This wasn't a turnaround, it was a resurrection. And today we're speaking with the man who lived that roller coaster every single day. A CEO who had to run a theme park without cash, negotiate with lenders without leverage, and keep thousands of families employed when despair sounded louder than hope. Joining us today on this episode is Dhimant Bakshi, co-author of Rollercoaster of Hope, the Turnaround Story of Imagicaa, a book that reveals what happens when grit, humor, and leadership meet the worst-case crisis a company can ever face. Let's dive right in. Thank you very much, Dhimant, for joining us on this episode of ETH Insights.
My pleasure, and I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
Well, I must congratulate you on your book first as we begin, because this conversation is largely on the book. Right. So many congratulations on the book being released.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Let's dive into the how and why. Most business books actually celebrate success, while yours celebrates survival. Before we get into the boardroom battle or the courtroom drama and everything that transpired, why did you feel the need that this story, has to be told? And why now?
Right. So, I think in life, we should always celebrate the moment that we are in. Also, I think whether the success may be small or whether I think we should be joyful. So, first point is, whether it is success or a failure or a struggle, one should live the moment and try and do their best in that moment. So we've lived by that belief right through. Now, why this book and why writing the story of survival more than the story of success alone? I think personally it's a journey, and very often people forget that behind every success or every failure, whatever the outcome may be, the journey of struggle or the journey that one goes through is very important, and that journey, how well you cover, whether it is about like we spoke about smaller wins, how you celebrate, or maybe there could be failures, but how you resiliently respond. And that, I think, is paramount when it comes to doing that. So we said, can we first survive? If we survive, we have an opportunity to revive. And if we could revive properly, and if we put our heads on our shoulder and feet on our ground and work properly, maybe there is an opportunity to thrive. So we said it's important to have time by your side. If we are able to get those incremental 1% improvement, 1% wins, taking one thing at a time, that's something which should be narrated. And why this book? We think that we are one such case out of so many. And in past, I'm sure there would have been thousands and thousands of cases, but not everybody comes forward to write this down for the benefit of world or people at large. India is a country of family businesses, and you'll see that so many, if we see our DNA of our business, it's more family driven business. Any entrepreneur that dreams of making a project is a great initiative, not only in terms of the business alone, but the number of jobs that it creates, number of new attractions or new concepts or new businesses that it builds. And that's what incrementally adds to the country's GDP or overall improvement. And I think setbacks have to be spoken about. Because if people speak about setbacks very candidly and frankly, there are thousands and millions of people who will learn from that. We just hope that if someone somewhere can take a leaf out of this book, implement it in some way, or prevent some damage control methods, we will be delighted. So, I think the country also needs that uh, clarity that not all entrepreneurs have wrong intentions. There are times when there could be a business failure, or there could be some assumptions going wrong, or some things not working out right. For a handful few, there should not be one brush that should create complication in the system for bringing amicable resolutions. I think whatever it is, as long as it is not incorrect, there should be an opportunity to move forward, and that's why the book.
Quite, fantastic. And the thoughts that have gone into building this book, and by that extension, the entire business and the story, is something that we'll get into as we go forward with the next set of questions. But I must totally, commend you for having found that one, ray of, silver line in the cloud, which says that whatever you do, no matter the outcome, you must derive joy while doing it.
Right.
And that's a beautiful sentiment to build a business around, which is the fundamental ethos of the entire amusement park.
Correct.
Having said that, when Imagicaa was actually declared an NPA, shutdown seemed absolutely inevitable. What was the moment that you realized that the crisis was deeper than anybody imagined? And what stopped you from stepping away from the crisis like most people would have done in that situation?
To that, I think sometimes having not the highest IQ in life helps. Because when you have very high IQ, you will always think about outcomes. Your mind will work a lot more in the direction of probabilities and estimating whether it will survive or not. So we are people who go with heart alongside mind, but give more weightage to heart. And we said that this is a great project. This is every element of the business otherwise was good. When a guest would come, guest came and enjoyed the most. The experience levels, the quality of our park attraction, that was clearly A plus plus, right? We said, should we step away from barking up a wrong tree and focus on the problem at hand? And so mathematically, a lot of things look wrong ab initio. But if you just step back and envision the business again, we thought that it had a opportunity. Of course, there were times were very difficult and tough. One of my friend also said that, what were you drinking at that point of time? Although I'm a teetotaler. So that happens. I think it's about sticking to that goal of saying that we'll not give up. And the business was otherwise fine, and we know the model. Interestingly, you'll find that world over, and we realized that later, not at that point of time, we didn't know all the data points. There have been many cases where you would have found, Chapter 11 in case of bankruptcies like Six Flags, or at one point of time, Disney also went through certain difficulties, so and so forth, many such examples. But whenever the revival happened, the revival was not an incremental revival. It was almost a hockey stick. And that gave us some sort of hope. But really speaking, at that point of time, what mattered to us was 1200 plus families dependent on this project directly. We said that we had to also ensure that all stakeholders, such as lenders, we should have made our genuine effort to pay it back in full, or at least as high as we can. Could we have made sure that the brand and the business, which is otherwise designed so well, can it have a path of growth and expansion of footprint with a stronger shoulders, some white knight who has interest in this business and who has a vision. And fortunately, in the Malbani group, we found that great fit. And hats off to their uh, conviction, commitment, and the grace with which they handle the entire transaction to take all stakeholders together. But having said that, before we reached there, I would say that it was about ensuring that every day, whatever task that was at hand, how best we can get past that and how we do it humorously. It is very important that in such times the moment has to be light. You can't get bogged down by one defeat or one thing going haywire. You have to be prepared for things going out of control and how best you can handle it. So I would say that very frankly there was no option for us to think that what if we fail. We said fine, we'll see. So if you see my appointment as a joint CEO initially when I started, and then eventually I became CEO. So by definition, I don't think I would have fit the bill correctly for the profile of this job. Because I am neither a finance background person, nor ever I have handled lenders, nor, in fact, I never entered a courtroom prior to this journey. So I was somewhere thinking that if Almighty has given this role in some way, or our promoters trusting us to take on this mantle, maybe something is somewhere which is beyond my comprehension. So when some things are decided by such series of coincidences or series of opportunities, I should look at it as an opportunity and not worry about struggle. So you can call it a leap of faith, you can call it belief, faith. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, that's why we had decided that if not anything, we'll be the last man standing, and that was very clear. With 1% hope, we said we'll at least see through the journey and see where it goes. You know, not all answers come instantaneously. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Not all answers come instantaneously.
And to one more thing, sorry, just to interrupt.
No worries.
One of my mentors told me a very nice thing. The saying by Napoleon, if you have to choose between a competent general and a lucky general, a lucky general is, so I don't know whether I was lucky, but that's what I can
No,
say.
absolutely. You know, in fact, I was just saying that, you know, the more you walk us through this journey and the more you talk about it, I'm actually enamored by the grace and, you know, the finish with which you have faced every situation and come out of it, and how you've taken this stigma out of all the setbacks. Usually, setbacks and failures in a business ecosystem are often viewed as stigma, but you've taken that out of it all, and here you stand. And I'm sure that the readers of the book will also, you know, sort of relate to it as they turn page by page to see how the journey has evolved.
I wish that they go through it, because there are various events and episodes, and it's not, so we have not given any corporate gyan. There is no complicated business theories or models or structure, framework, nothing. It's just a story narrated, unvarnished, without any packaging. It's just there. Important thing is you'll see that in certain moments how one could handle those situations, and I think in each one's role or each one's situations, they will have their own and not everything can be copy pasted, but it is about if something somewhere helps, we'll be really happy. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of episodes, like you just told us, you know, the book describes conmen posing as investors, there's failed deals, stalled infrastructure, and of course, hostile lenders in the entire, you know, gamut of things that transpired. Can you share one particular moment, possibly in the boardroom or perhaps the courtroom, where everything felt like it was collapsing, but something shifted?
So this is a very tough question for me because I think there were many episodes like that where we felt that things are just going to go southwards. One such thing was when our first auction failed, when basically no bidder came on. The bidder were there online, but nobody really put their bid. It was almost like winner's curse, if I have to say. And at that moment, the bankers were, completely paranoid. Our promoter had uh, uh, very graciously walked up to the lenders themselves to say that we'll try and best get the resolution. Some investors also gave us confidence that they will come and participate. It was almost like that we are there, it will be done, but nobody bid. So that was one thing where that's the time we uh, we realized that it could go, and that's where it began really. After NPA, there were still discussions saying that okay, somebody will come somewhere, but at that moment we felt that maybe it's there's because lenders lost confidence as well. If I am permitted to make one more such instance, in one of the NCLT code hearings, when there was a change of circumstances significantly, that was again a moment where we thought, "Aaj to gaye," and fortunately, somewhere something kind of worked, and interesting situations, and some of them are very well. We've tried to capture. They are when I think about it now, we just laugh. But at that moment, there was nothing more paramount than that. So that was one more learning for us is that what may look paramount today may be of complete irrelevance tomorrow. So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And living through that with grit and passion and coming out on the other side.
So I'll take one more such example is that so my colleague, the CFO, whenever that we would go to a lender, because he was the man who was there from day zero to till the crisis time as well, and of course we are still in that journey together. People said, "You were there, and you took the loan. Now you give us the solution." So that's when I think I along with my colleague said that let me be the new kid on the block. While everybody spoke about the problem at that point of time, I had the liberty of not knowing the problem fully, they not knowing me at all. So I was completely new to the situation. So we've changed the problem from why it happened to what to do next. And I think that was a paradigm shift in our journey, so to speak. Yeah.
Quite fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's move to the next question. Keeping a theme park alive with no cash is unheard of. How did you keep your employees motivated, guests protected, and operations running where everything was just stacked against you?
So when I said no cash, the cash was significantly short of the requirement. And we had creditors at our doorstep, and apart from lenders, even the operational creditors have to be paid. Otherwise, life comes to a complete grinding halt. So we resorted to the oldest form of currency, the barter. We realized that by the time I took charge, there was really no collateral left for us to raise capital or raise working capital really. And I think that was a blessing in disguise. If at that point of time I would have still had some collateral, I think we would have never thought differently. And I would say that constraints really make you think out of the box. And some of our team members and some of, I must say that one of our trade partners, Mr. Tushar, really stood by us in thick and thin, and he was like a God sent angel, and I can't thank him more. But the point was that we said that because ticket is our currency, that we could put it as a form of currency. We generated cash out of that. So we, whether it was media, whether it was various other things, we got that headroom to survive. Of course, it was at the cost of margins. But if you don't have cash, your margins of no value after a point of time. So with utilization of that method, we reduce our creditor cycle to manageable, controllable cycle till at that point of time. And I think it was about having open communication. We never ran away from our creditors. We never ran away from our lenders. In fact, our CFO Mayuresh and I would wait for hours and hours at times to meet lenders, leaving our core job and responsibilities to give them that comfort that we are here and we are here to resolve. And that, I think, built a lot of confidence and trust in their minds also. Initially, they were not sure why we were coming. In fact, one of the gentlemen who had given us advance for one transaction, we used to very often go and meet. And initially, they thought that whenever these two gentlemen are here, and at that point of time, I don't know whether we were considered gentlemen, we were defaulters. So why have they come? There must be some bad news or something else. And I think that we endured, and that trust that developed built openness in communication. They at least were comfortable that intentions are there to resolve. And once they know that, I think things really move forward. One another great piece of advice that I got was to develop thick skin. A very senior gentleman told me that you will be able to handle any challenges if you are able to disassociate personal attacks or any feedbacks from the objectivity, and that's what he meant by thick skin. And I think it was a great pearl of wisdom which helped us through.
In moving forward. Fantastic, absolutely. Finally, on this conversation, with my last question, I'd like to ask, for anyone who's facing their own crisis and in the dilemma like you've been, whether it's a startup founder, a CXO, or a student, what is the one lesson of hope from the roller coaster of hope that you'd like to leave behind?
Yeah, so I think sometimes people think that as CEO or as a business leader or a founder or an entrepreneur or CXO, whatever may be the term, that they have answers to everything. And I think that's a big folly. And the quicker that one accepts and communicates that it is a power of collective wisdom and not one man or one woman knowing it all. So like I told you, I did not really come from corporate finance background and a lot of terms of banking. So one small example was our finance team will say ROI. So they meant return, they meant rate of interest, whereas I would think it as return on investments. Imagine. So lot of learnings I got from our team members, and good thing in our team members was that they were very clear that they could tell me on my face that I'm wrong, or I don't understand something, or maybe there could have been a better way. So that collective wisdom and keeping your personal egos or your experience or your education aside, focus on that very moment at that point, I think would be more minds thinking with the same objective will always give you better solution is one thing, and most importantly, just don't give up. if you ever think of giving it up, say, let me try again. Bas.
Quite fantastic and lovely at that. The entire book, I'm sure, is going to be a treasure trove of incidents and anecdotes that you've put together, which once somebody reads, they will get a lot of lessons in survival and in the kind of strategy that can go behind collecting wisdom, like you've just pointed out.
So, in fact, some of the entrepreneurs or some friends or some company who undergo problems, sometimes they reach out and I think that is the whole objective also. I think that you have anything, just share. If there is someone can support one another, I think there is nothing better than that. So, yeah.
Absolutely agree, Dhimant. Thank you very much for having this conversation with us and wishing you a lot of luck with the book, with your next ventures and the projects, and how exactly you take them forward.
Thank
and I'm
you.
sure that the book is a lovely sight to see.
So it is our honor to present you with Rollercoaster of Hope, the book that we have tried to put together through our learnings and various experiences of turning around Imagicaa. We sincerely hope that you take some time reading it, make some good pointers, some notes, have a hearty laugh, and implement it in some way or the other in your life, and maybe to help others also in their journeys. It will be a collective effort to for a better tomorrow. Thank you so much.
What stands out is the clarity with which Dhimant views the industry. Not just as someone shaping entertainment spaces today, but someone architecting how India will engage, discover, and experience leisure for the next decade. His journey reflects something rare: the ability to blend creativity and operational discipline and imagination with scale. To our viewers, this conversation wasn't just about parks and experiences. It was about building joy as a business model and designing memories that outlast the visit. We hope that today offered you a fresh lens on the experience economy, its opportunities, and the mindset that leaders need to cultivate it.